decision meeting. I'm Councillor Hannah Hockaday, the Cabinet Member for Education. Should we do you have a declaration of interest, Susie?
I do have a declaration of interest. It's my usual one that I'm Vice Chair of Craneswater Junior School, but in this particular instance, item 5 refers to it quite a lot, so I'm just declaring that now.
Okay, and apologies for absence. We've had apologies from Mike Stoneman and Caroline Corcoran, and we have Chris here instead of Caroline. Should we just do a quick introduction, I guess, just for the record?
Okay, so I'm Councillor Susie Horton, and I am the spokesperson for Education for Lib Dems.
And I'm Chris Williams, who's standing in for Caroline Corcoran today.
Lisa Gallagher, Democratic Services Officer.
Thank you, Lisa. So just for general housekeeping, there is some safety information I need to go through. If the fire alarm is continuous, please evacuate the room and public gallery by the stairwells. Do not attempt to use the lifts, and please assemble at the Queen Victoria statue in front of the civic offices. And I need to draw everyone's attention to the fact that the meeting is live streamed from a camera at a fixed location at the back of the meeting room, and the recording will be on the council's website. Members of the public are also permitted to record the meeting on the understanding that it neither disrupts the meeting nor records those stating explicitly they do not wish to be recorded. And please, everyone, use the microphones when speaking. Hello, Julia. No, don't worry at all. So we're going to go straight over to, there is a bit of a change to our, to the papers today. We're going to go to item number 6 first of all, which, Julia, I'll pass over to you if that's okay, if you've got your breath to present.
Yes, just about. So the purpose of this report is to seek approval for a revised transport policy statement for post-16 learners with special needs and disabilities. I'll come back to the recommendations at the end, but just to explain why we're coming back with this. We undertook a consultation last February, a fairly extensive consultation on a number of changes to the policy for home-to-school transport assistance for children and for post-16 learners as well. They're two separate documents, and we have to publish both of those. The changes which are set out in section 3.3 were all agreed by the Cabinet member in July last year, but since then, in October, some further statutory guidance was published, which we've obviously taken into consideration, and in the light of that new statutory guidance, we are coming back to recommend that we don't implement the first recommendation that was agreed last year, and that was about removing the opportunity for over 19s to have home to college travel assistance. What the new guidance says is that local authorities should, although it's not a statutory responsibility, there should be the opportunity for post-19 learners in exceptional circumstances to request assistance. And that would be, for example, if a learner had started a course before they reached the age of 19, they'd maybe got an education, health and care plan, so we were commissioning the course or the placement for them, and they wanted to continue that course beyond 19. So it seems reasonable in the light of that to come back and not implement that change, which was due to come into place this summer, so summer 18. So the recommendation is that we make the amendment to the policy statement set out in 4.4. We still have to consult, because we have to consult every year on both the pre-16 policy and also the post-16 learner policy statement, but we're not proposing any further changes. And what we are recommending is that we do that consultation between 16th of April and 11th of May, as we would have to do every year, just with that one further change, and that delegated authority is given to the Director of Children's Services to agree the final version of the policy following that consultation period.
Okay, well that seems fairly straightforward. Susie, did you have any questions at all? No. Okay, thank you. Julia, so I'm happy to go with the recommendations for item 6. So thank you very much for presenting. Thank you. Okay, so then we go to item 3, which is the change of age range from Penhale Infant School and Nursery. So that's over to you, Chris.
Thank you. This report is regarding the change of age range at Penhale Infant School and Nursery School, and provides the outcome of the statutory consultation that has recently been undertaken. The change of the age range is for pupils 2 to 7 years of age. The report sets out the statutory consultation that was entered into following the report to Cabinet member on the 7th of December 2017. We have undertaken this statutory process following a request by the governing body of Penhale Infant and Nursery School in response to enable young children to meet the 2-year-old funding offer for nursery provision. The school currently operates from 3 to 7, which was restrictive to that. So we entered any change to a school organisation requires the authority to go through a statutory process set out in this report. There are 4 stages to that, and we have just undertaken the formal representation stage, which is stage 2. So this is through to stage 3, the decision stage. The reason for our recommendation today, following the consultation that was undertaken, we received no comments at all on this proposal. So the report reflects that. The local authority is a decision maker on a statutory proposal of this nature. And we can confirm that we followed the process accordingly. The consultation that was undertaken met the guidelines as prescribed by the statute. Public notices were published. We placed the information on the school's website, and the school made parents aware via a newsletter as well. There are no capital implications involved with this procedure, and the revenue funding is through the dedicated schools grant. Therefore, our recommendation today is that the Cabinet member authorise the Director for Children, Families and Education to implement the proposal to change to a school for 2 to 7-year-olds as from the 1st of April 2018.
That's lovely. Thank you, Chris. And I'm more than happy to authorise the change of age for Penhale Infant School. And I think it's really good news that they will be able to start that from April. So it's going to benefit a lot of parents and families. Is there anything that you wanted to add, Susie?
Good on them to be able to get it organised for the beginning of April.
Thank you.
Okay, that's lovely. So that's agenda item 3. And so we go over to agenda item 4, which is the change of age range for the Willows Centre. Again, over to you, Chris.
Thank you. This report is regarding the change of age range at Willows Centre for Children, and a report on the outcome of the statutory consultation that was undertaken between the 29th of January 2018 and the 26th of February 2018. The proposal was to change the age range of Willows Centre for Children for a 2 to 7-year-old provision to take effect from the 1st of September 2018. The Council proposed a change of age range at Willows Centre in order to provide additional specialist Year 1 places in September 2018 to meet the increased local demand for provision. The statutory process that was entered into is shown in 3.3 of the report. Again, there were 4 stages to this process, and we have just gone through the formal consultation period, and I will tell you more about that as we go through the report. On the 15th of January 2018, we were asked to proceed with the publication of the proposal and the representants, and to go forward to the representation stage of this process. The formal representation period started on the 29th of January with a public notice in the news, and formal consultation was conducted in line with the statutory guidance, which ended on the 26th of February 2018. Reasons for our recommendations today. Portsmouth has seen an increase in demand for children with specialist provision, particularly with complex needs. If additional places can't be provided in the city, then there is an implication that the children will then have to go outside of the city, which isn't always the best or most desirable thing to do for children with these complex issues. Because of this, we're looking to extend Year 1 or create Year 1 places at the school from 2018. Obviously, to create additional places, we will need to undertake adaptations at the school, and full council approved £400,000 of capital funding in February this year to adapt Willows Centre for the increased provision. Appendix 2 provides details of the consultation that was undertaken, and also provides the responses that we received. Of the 32 responses that we received, 28, which was 87.5% of responses, were in favour of the proposal. Those responses are fully detailed in Appendix 2 of this report. Appendix 1 of the report provides the copy of the consultation document where the responses were based on. The recommendation, therefore, based on the responses received to date, is that we undertake the change in age range so that Willows becomes a school for pupils aged 2 to 7 from the 1st of September 2018. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. And just one question. So are we sure that the building work will be complete for September to accommodate the change?
Yes, we've worked very closely. Obviously, it's a very tight timescale, and we have worked very closely with the management of the Willows to ensure that the accommodation will be ready in time and fit for purpose. We have the advantage that the accommodation will be refurbishment in an internal configuration of the existing building. And it's in an area that can be isolated from the rest of the school, so can be undertaken in term time as well. So we are going through a procurement process which will allow that, and we will be ready for the beginning of September as planned.
Fantastic, thank you. Susie, is there anything that you wanted to add? No, okay. Well, thank you for that, Chris. I'm more than happy to go with the recommendations to change the Willow Centre to become a school for pupils aged 2 to 7 from 1st September 2018. And that covers agenda item 4. So lastly, we're on agenda item 5, which is the School Condition Modernisation Programme for 2018-19. And you're going to produce a report to us. Thank you.
Right. The purpose of this report is to seek approval for the individual condition projects that form part of the £1.1 million School Condition Modernisation Programme for 2018-19. Capital funding of £1 million was approved by full council on the 13th of February this year, and it's anticipated that we will receive a further £100,000 from school contributions towards the projects. The condition projects that we undertake are based on urgent works which have been identified through asset management plan meetings, condition surveys, and education officers' knowledge of specific projects and schemes. The initial analysis that we undertook identified that there was a total need of just over £1.7 million based on a range of what we call priority 1 works, which are considered urgent and in need of an immediate response. Due to the fact that the final allocation of capital funding is less than the identified need, the urgent condition projects have had to be prioritised based on a risk assessment which is regarding the likelihood and impact of the event. So in light of this, it may be necessary to address urgent issues or emergencies which come up throughout the year, particularly when you come towards a winter period. The proposed allocation of the capital funding for the individual schemes is set out in section 4 of this report. The school contributions are based on a methodology which we have provided as Appendix A to this report, and we work closely with schools as we build up the projects and discuss their contributions along the way. In summary, there are 10 schemes with an estimated cost of £785,000 which are currently identified, with a sum of £315,000 being retained as a contingency for any immediate emergency repairs required along the way. The table in 4.2 identifies the schemes that we are recommended are taken forward. Section 4.4 identifies a further 3 schemes which may require funding from the contingency, but are currently undergoing assessment reports. These are Copner Primary School, Craneswater Annex, and also Craneswater Junior School. The recommendation is therefore that the school modernisation urgent condition projects as set out in section 4 of the report be approved, and we ask that delegated power be given to the Deputy Director of Children, Families and Education to approve the entering into contracts for the proposed capital works as set out in the report.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for that report. Susie, is there anything that you wanted to add on that?
I suppose it's just a hypothetical. Obviously, if you'd had the full amount of money that you wanted, then all of these would, and I know they're prioritised, but if I was to look on the next on the list about a report, RE heating, I guess my question is, how bad is that, and what happens if it gets to a point where we consider that to be impacting on the quality of education of those kids, or in terms of the environment? Do you just use that contingency when it gets to a certain critical point, or do you just wait until the next amount of money is available to.
Yeah, good question. It is quite a difficult decision to make. Obviously, yeah. We obviously have a backlog of repairs and maintenance, and very difficult decisions have to be made on what is the immediate priorities. So as I said, that is really based on absolute emergency works, where we know that there will be adverse effect on keeping the school operational. So it becomes quite difficult when we are faced with items such as heating systems, which might be working now, but may necessarily not be working as we get to the colder winter period. So we have to make a quite informed decision on what we know about those systems and how likely it is that they will keep going during difficult times. Now, obviously, there are a number of competing projects then, hence why we like to keep that contingency for if there is a real emergency. Often that's very much dictated by the cold and extreme weather conditions, but it's wise to have that there.
Well, hopefully we'll have better conditions coming up shortly. We can
We hope.
only wish for. So, yeah, and I mean they will be monitored, wouldn't they? The
Very much
conditions
so.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, many of the projects that aren't undertaken, we have regular surveys on them and regular inspections, just to make sure there hasn't been any further setback in those items. If there is, then we tend to bring them forward.
That's lovely, Chris. Thank you very much for that. So I'm happy to go with the recommendations for item number 5 for the school modernisation programme for 2018-19. And that will then bring us to the end of this meeting. So thank you everyone for attending. Thank you.